Alexander is standing inside the underworld. Organic walls form an oppressive passageway from which a spiraling path emerges and descends into the darkness. Far below, the surface of a black, glassy river eerily reflects the glow of flickering torches. Alexander's voice echoes in the passageway, coming back to his ears as an eerie wailing sound. The organic surfaces of the underworld seem to ooze with life. Alexander is not anxious to get any closer to them than he has to. A strange path grown up from the depths of the river and out from the surrounding walls spirals down into the underworld. Alexander doesn't want to try that. The eerie path just might reply. An ebony mass of liquid flows below the path. It must be the river Styx. The cold river doesn't answer Alexander. Extending from the walls are outgrowths spouting flickering flames. The eerie torches dimly light the passages of the underworld. The torches flicker silently in little lapping tongues of flame. The flames cannot aid Alexander. Apparently, Alexander's not the only one who's curious about the body on the path. A knight's remains lie abandoned on the path. The knight, like Alexander, must have been alive when he entered the underworld, but for some reason he never reached his destination. Alexander wonders if this is the knight the Druid spoke of. Alexander has no need for the old armor. He decides to leave the knight's remains as undisturbed as possible. The knight is wearing one black gauntlet. There appears to be some writing on the gauntlet, but Alexander can't quite make out what it says. Alexander takes the knight's black gauntlet and examines the writing on it. Flesh may cross the portal and seek its master death. Flesh may go where death is trod and challenge, like Scheherazade, he who reigns beneath the sod to spare a mortal's breath. Zounds, that sounds serious. The iron gauntlet is a bit too small to fit on Alexander's arm. Alexander stands on the banks of the river Styx. The black river is as still as a mirror and gives off a penetrating cold. Charon, the ferryman, and his eerie ship wait on the shore to shepherd souls across the river. Alexander's voice echoes off the strange walls and the river, coming back to his ears as an eerie wailing sound. Alexander is anxious to touch as little as possible in the realm of the dead. The river Styx is an ebony mass of liquid, resembling black tar or melted black glass. Despite its incredible stillness, the river seems to have a life of its own. The cold river doesn't answer Alexander. Alexander gets a chill just thinking about putting his hand in that black river. Alexander scoops a little of the river Styx into the teacup with the swamp ooze, being careful not to get any of the black water on his skin. The teacup already contains some water from the river Styx. Charon's boat is an unearthly vessel. It bears a huge skeletal prow for slicing through the river Styx. Charon's boat does look capable of speech, but Alexander is afraid to hear what it might have to say. Charon will determine whether and when Alexander will board the boat. The spirits of the newly deceased make their final journey into the depths of the underworld. The journeying spirits seem to be in a trance and don't respond to Alexander. The journeying spirits are beyond Alexander's ability to grasp. Charon stands in his boat, eternal ferryman of the dead. Alexander can't quite make out what's under Charon's cowl, and he's not sure he would want to.
I must see the Lord of the Dead. Please, let me ride across the river Styx on the ferry.
Charon apparently has rules as strict as those of the skeletons at the underworld's entrance. Alexander is not getting on that boat until he gives Charon the appropriate fare. Alexander can't push his way past Charon. He'll have to convince the ferryman to let him board.
I have this gauntlet. Will this get me across the river?
Charon seems unimpressed with the knight's gauntlet. Whatever the gauntlet's purpose, it apparently has nothing to do with the river Styx ferryman. Alexander can see all he wants to see of Charon without the aid of that mirror. Though he's not carrying it at the moment, Charon's own scythe is perfectly functional.
Will this do as fare for passage? Will these coins do as fare for passage?
Charon accepts the fare and waves Alexander onto the boat. Alexander is standing on a path in front of a large gate. The path is surrounded by the chilly river Styx. Charon, the ferryman, is gone. Alexander has the feeling that he's close to his destination, that it must in fact lie on the other side of the gate. The eerie river Styx flows under and around the path to the gate. There's no access to the water from this side of the river Styx. A tortured path has grown up from the depths of the river Styx. The path leads to a heavy wooden gate. Alexander can feel the path through his leather jerkins. He has no desire to get closer to it than that. The large wooden gate at the end of the path is closed. The wooden gate does not look particularly conversational at the moment. Alexander reaches out to open the gate. Suddenly, the wood trembles beneath his fingertips.
What touch has awakened my sleep? I smell the blood of a mortal. Reach out thine hand again, fleshy human, that I might devour it. It has been centuries since I last ate.
Gate is a malicious-looking wooden gate. It eyes Alexander hungrily.
I have this gauntlet.
That has naught to do with me, human.
Gate is bad enough as it is. Alexander doesn't even want to think about what he might look like in Beast's mirror. Gate has no keyhole, nor could Alexander get close enough to use that key without ending up as dinner.
I have this.
What care I? I am interested in thy bones, not in bartering with thee.
Despite his fear, Alexander summons his bravest voice to command the living gate.
I would pass, Gate. I have business with your master.
My master and thine, human. I would be pleased to introduce thee. Only step forward and thou shalt meet him shortly.
No, thank you. I come to meet the Lord of the Dead with my flesh still intact.
And why should I let you past, human, when I would much rather eat you?
I have been told that there is a way for humans to enter Death's realm. There must be something I can do. Some task that will allow me to pass through your doors, Gate.
I seem to recall something. A trick. Perhaps a test. Yes. Should a human try to pass, a riddle is Gate's wont to ask.
A riddle it is, then.
And if thou wouldst fail to answer Gate, his thirsty jaws will be thy fate.
Agreed.
Listen as though it meant thy life then, human, for it surely does. My first is foremost legally. My second circles outwardly. My third leads all in victory. My fourth twice ends a nominee. My whole is this gate's only key.
My first is foremost legally. My second circles outwardly. My third leads all in victory. My fourth twice ends a nominee. My whole is this gate's only key.
The answer is love.
Rah! Thou traitor of the mortal plane! How didst thou guess love? That riddle should never have been solved. Love is unknown in this realm.
Love cannot be banished, even from this place. There are spirits still pining of it on the surface above. Still less can it be banished from my heart.
Enough! Burden me not with thy poetry. Pass through, and quickly, before I change my mind.
Alexander is standing in the hall of the Lord of the Dead. It is here that the spirits of the newly dead complete their journey and meet Death himself. Alexander's throat tightens in awe and fear as he surveys the scene before him. He is unable to call out. The hall of the Lord of the Dead is hardly a good place for poking around. A narrow path is suspended over the Sea of Souls and leads to the throne of the Lord of the Dead. Alexander can feel the contours of the path through his boots. He has no desire to touch it. In the center of the great cavern, the Lord of the Dead reigns over the hosts of the dead. He waves spirits into the Sea of Souls in an endless stream. What things the spirits tell him are best unheard by mortal ears. The spirits ignore Alexander. The spirits of the newly dead end their journey here. They have an audience with the Lord of the Dead and are then immersed in the Sea of Souls. What purpose the audience serves, Alexander does not know. Alexander can't talk to the Lord of the Dead from here. The servants of the Lord of the Dead stand silently at the head of the path to his throne. The servants of the Lord of the Dead don't seem particularly touchable, and Alexander has no desire to engage the black-cloaked figures in a fight.
Excuse me, I'd like an audience, please.
The shrouded guards escort Alexander to the throne of the Lord of the Dead.
Why have you entered my domain, still wearing your flesh? If you are so anxious for death, you might have found it easily enough in the land of the living. But since you are here, you are most welcome to stay. Kiss my hand, and you will be one with the spirits. There will be no pain.
I seek a boon, my lord.
Why should death grant you anything, mortal?
With trembling knees, Alexander stands before the Lord of the Dead. Beyond death and his throne, Alexander can sense the multitude of spirits in the Sea of Souls. The souls surrounding the Lord of the Dead's throne cannot help Alexander. He had better concentrate on death himself if he wishes to plead his case. The Lord of the Dead is a huge, grotesque figure. He and his throne are one, grown together over the centuries till he can no longer move. Chains further bind him, pinning him to his endless, weighty task. If he was once human, as the Druids claimed, Alexander can see no sign of it in his merciless, fathomless eyes.
I brought this, my lord.
That does not explain your presence in my realm, mortal one.
Perhaps Alexander should first state his purpose before he tries something like that. The gauntlet is made of black iron and has a message inscribed upon it. Flesh may cross the portal and seek its master, death. Flesh may go where death has trod and challenge, like Scheherazade, he who reigns beneath the sod, to spare a mortal's breath.
I did not come here to die, but to demand my right of challenge. I respectfully challenge thee, death, by throwing down this gauntlet. Man may pass the portal and seek its master, death. Man may pass where death has trod and challenge, like Scheherazade, he who reigns beneath the sod, to spare a mortal's breath.
He has the gauntlet!
Impossible! He challenges death. Who are you to challenge death?
A man of flesh is all I need to be, my lord.
And what is it that you seek with this challenge? The soul of some dead maiden?
I seek the souls of King Caliphim and Queen Ilaria of the land of the Green Isles.
You would save 2 human souls and emerge alive from this realm yourself? That shall be a difficult challenge indeed. The tomb does not open its doors lightly.
Either all 3 of us leave, or none go.
Very well. Then let me think of an appropriate task. Ah, yes, I have it now. Your challenge is this. For thousands of years, I have sat upon this throne. I have heard every sad tale that can be told by human lips. I have seen tragedies that ended empires, injustices that defy reason, love that would light the very stars turn cold and hard. I have seen torments that cannot possibly be borne, and yet must be, for centuries. This thing I have never done. I have never shed a tear. Make me cry, thou man of flesh. That is my challenge.
Make death cry?
Sooner could he turn sea to stone, or fire to ice.
Perhaps a tale of my love?
There is nothing you could say of love that would make me cry, mortal. I have had Cleopatra and Helen of Troy stand before me, and they move me not. Your common desires mean nothing to me.
Alexander doesn't want to involve Cassima in this. He just as soon doth not know too much about her.
I have this, my lord.
That does not provoke my tears, mortal.
If your existence has been all that you say it has, then truth alone shall be my sword.
The mirror's surface swirls with darkness for a moment, then fills with images even blacker. Reflections of despair, of wailing souls, of shackles colder and more immutable than any forged by man, of a world of thirsts that can never be quenched. Alexander feels the mirror tremble in his grasp, and is glad that he cannot see its face. But the Lord of the Dead is transfixed to the mirror, to the screening of his life. Things long forgotten are once more uncovered. His enslavement to this throne while still a man, the years of watching misery and horror and growing ever more numb to it, the seep of his own humanity, the slow growth of a new thing altogether which became that which he is now. His is an existence that has no possibility of redemption, no end. The surrounding spirits draw away in pain. The truth is so sharp it stabs, so intense it sears.
Take it away. Make it stop.
The mirror of truth cracks from the strain, and death sheds a single gray tear.
Truth is indeed a terrible thing. I have worn this mantle for so long, I had forgotten its dreadful weight. You shall take the souls and leave as I agreed. You have been granted to stay from this inevitable reality. I almost envy you. Find the souls he has claimed, and bring them to me. King Caliphim and Queen Alaria, I presume. Your hero has won you a few more years of mortality. May your souls be more prepared for their rest when you return.
Thank you, my lord. I hope that they will.
And you, man of flesh, my steed shall take the three of you back to the land of the living. Tell her where it is you wish to go. Until we meet again, then, I assure you, we will meet again.
No offense, my lord, but I hope that will be many long years from now.
It is never as long as you might wish, mortal. Now, begone.
Yes, my lord. Are you coming, Majesty?
Alhazred's treachery must be handled carefully, Alexander. Alari and I must go gather our allies and form a plan. Watch over Cassima. Make sure she comes to no harm. We will return as soon as we can to take back all that has been stolen from us.
I will keep her safe until your return.
Thank you, son. Your love for our daughter must be deep indeed for you to have undertaken death itself for our sakes.
Indeed. May we succeed in what awaits us, and live long together as a family.
Jalo, my friend, is the wedding still moving forward at the castle?
Prince Alex, egads, yes, that confounded wedding has a whole castle a-bustle. Look, I didn't come here to talk about that, though. I came to warn you.
Warn me? About what? Isn't the wedding bad enough?
No, listen. The Vizier knows that you're here, Alexander. He's posted extra guards, and he's telling them about a foreign saboteur. Who else could he mean but you? The Vizier's genie must have learned of your presence in the land, Prince Alex. I don't know how, but he must have.
I haven't exactly been discreet, I'm afraid.
Alexander, this is serious. Alhazred will never let you get close to Cassima now. He doubled the castle guard, probably to make sure you keep out. Gadzooks! Oh, it's too bad there isn't some way to convince Alhazred that you've left the islands or even died. If he thought you were out of the way, you might be able to get close enough to...
What an interesting thought. Tell me more about this genie.
The genie's name is Shamir Shamazel. Alhazred brought Shamir with him when he came to this kingdom. Shamir probably won't directly threaten you, but that doesn't mean he isn't dangerous. He can be a terrible trickster and an ingenious spy. It's too bad we can't get our hands on Shamir's lamp. If we had that lamp, Alhazred and all of our problems would be solved. Wouldn't that be a fine thing?
You would wish to be master of such a wicked creature?
Oh, Shamir isn't necessarily evil. Genies never are, you know. They only reflect their owner's heart, for good or ill. Alhazred is hardly a shining example for an impressionable genie.
So how do you propose we go about getting Shamir's lamp?
What? Oh, Prince Alex, I was only dreaming. I mean, the lamp is heavily guarded. It would be easier to steal Alhazred's own trousers while he's wearing them than it would be to get that lamp.
But surely a clown's hands are quick and agile.
Well, yes, they are, as a matter of fact. But then the theft would be detected almost immediately. And then... Oh, my poor neck.
If the theft were detected.
Oh, I see. Yes, well, there might be a slim chance, but only that. If you could find a replica of the genie's lamp, an exact replica, I might be able to make the swap. I alone might get close enough, but I couldn't tell you what to look for. I caught a glimpse of it only once. I would know it if I saw it again, but to say I cannot.
Well, I'll just have to see what I can do.
Good luck to you then, Prince Alex. I really must be going back to the castle. I don't think I'll be able to come back here. If we were spied on, well, it's too high a risk. I hope you understand. If I see Cassima, I'll tell her I saw you. If you do ever make it to the castle, look me up. And do be careful, friend.
I will. Goodbye, Jalo. Thanks for all your help. How fare you, peddler?
Hey, lad, have you an old lamp for me yet?
Excuse me, peddler, but I have an old lamp that might interest you.
Ah, an old lamp. And what a nice traditional design, too. Take your pick of my new lamps.
One of the lamp seller's lamps is squat and red with a corked top. One of the lamp seller's lamps is a small green metal lamp. The handles on either side of the lamp remind Alexander of a sugar bowl. One of the lamp seller's lamps is long and narrow. It's open at either end like a lantern and is made of flowered blue paper. One of the lamp seller's lamps looks quite similar to Alexander's hunter's lamp, but is shiny and new. Its spout is only decorative, unlike Alexander's lamp, and is plugged with brass. One of the lamps is made of blue-colored glass and has a tall, thin neck and a cork-like cap. One of the lamp seller's lamps has an open oriental style and is made of decorated papered fabric. The lamp seller's pole bears 6 lamps. Each is shining with newness, and each has unique characteristics.
A fine choice, my son. Here is your new lamp. Good day, and I thank you, sir.
Good day.
Drat! Another dud.
Alexander has obtained a new lamp made of blue-colored glass with a tall, thin neck and a cork-like cap. Alexander rubs the new lamp, but nothing happens.
Good day, Prince Alexander.
Would you be interested in making a trade for this, merchant?
I have too many lamps already, thanks.
Would you be interested in making a trade for this, merchant?
What would I do with the key of bone?
Alexander does not want to discuss Cassima with that old man. Alexander may not at all care for that man in black, but that's no excuse for getting violent. That brand new lamp from the lamp seller is unlikely to impress the man in black. Alexander suddenly gets a very sneaky idea.
I can't go on anymore. Without Cassima, I'd just rather not live.
Prince Alex, no!
It's true. The Vizier has beaten me. I give up. Poison is my last resort.
Stop!
I am no more.
Oh, what a waste. The poor young fool.
He's dead! He's dead! Wait until Abdul hears. He'll be so pleased. I told you not to pop in like that. You can learn to knock like everybody else. Sorry, Master. I couldn't help myself. I have great news. Well, what is it? Prince Alexander is dead! He killed himself in despair over losing Cassima. What? Are you positive? That young man has proven to be most devious. I saw the whole thing myself, Master. He was really and truly quite dead. If what you say is true, it shall be most convenient. You've spent enough time on that little irritant. We must start thinking about the wedding. Anything, Master? Oh, I do love weddings. Well, we do want you to look your prettiest, don't we? Now, Shamir Shamazel, to the lamp with you. Prepare yourself, as we discussed.
Alexander's heart lurches to life in his chest.
Prince Alex! But you were...
Sorry, friend. I was doing a little acting, I'm afraid.
Ah, of course, the strange cloaked man. You are quite clever, and a bit too exciting for an old man.
Alexander takes a closer look at the items on the counter.
Might I trade for that painter's brush on the counter?
Certainly. What do you wish to offer me in trade?
Would you mind if I traded this in?
Of course, Prince Alex. Please, choose something in exchange for the items on the counter.
Alexander looks closely at the items on the counter to make his selection.
I think I'd like the painter's brush.
Very good, Prince Alex. The painter's brush it is. May your painting go well. Feel free to bring back the brush at any time.
Thank you.
A group of serving women approach the castle.
Ah, Wolf! More serving women! The castle staff is certainly busy today!
Aye, Gruff! Get a move on there, wenches! There's plenty of work left to do before the wedding!
Yes, Sergeant Gruff.
Those serving wenches are always late!
The side of the castle is one big blank wall. The little china teacup is made of fine porcelain. The teacup contains swamp ooze and water from the river Styx. Alexander is carrying an unusually large black feather. The feather feels very stiff and coarse. Alexander is tickled enough just to be out on his own on this adventure. Alexander dips the large black feather into the teacup and stirs the contents gently. To his amazement, the jet-black color of the feather slowly drains from end to tip into the teacup. The teacup mixture blackens and thickens to a paint-like consistency. Alexander carefully puts it away, discarding the drained feather. The little china teacup is made of fine porcelain. The teacup contains a thick, black, paint-like mixture. Alexander is carrying a clean but well-used painter's brush. The paintbrush bristles have softened to a perfect consistency after much hard use. To paint something, Alexander must first choose a location where he wants to paint. The paint can then be used on that location. Feeling artistically inspired, Alexander decides to make use of the large blank castle wall. Ah, a doorway. Just what Alexander was thinking this wall needed. A painted door graces the castle wall. Alexander would love to go through the painted door, but that wall is still quite solid. The paintbrush would not leave a lasting impression on Alexander. With trepidation, Alexander gathers his strength for the enchantment of the painted door. Magic paint, black as ink, bring to life what I think, make it real what I draw, according to this spoken law. The spell worked. The door has magically solidified. A very real-looking door now exists in the castle wall. The enchanted door does not respond. Eager to be inside the castle at last, Alexander opens the enchanted door and steps inside. The magic paint door fades back into the wall. So much for an easy exit. The castle basement is cool after the heat of the day. The arched domed ceilings add to the sense of spaciousness in the wide corridors. On the east wall are 3 dungeon doors. This is the west basement hallway. The ceilings in the castle are vaulted and formal, giving the halls a lofty elegance. The colors of the stained glass windows glow with filtered light. A suit of armor is on display in the North Hall. The floor does not respond. There's nothing of interest on the castle floor. 3 dungeon doors line the east wall of the hallway.
Psst! Anyone in there?
The dungeon cell is empty. There is no reply. Alexander opens the dungeon door and slips inside. Alexander is standing in a dim, damp dungeon cell. The walls and floor are made of gray granite stones. A cot in the corner is the only furniture. A gargoyle peers down maliciously from over the dungeon door. Alexander is singularly alone in this dank cell. Even humming doesn't seem like a good idea. Alexander sees nothing of interest in that part of the dungeon. A brown spider peers down at the man in the cell with little interest. The spider is not interested in hearing about Alexander's problems. Alexander couldn't and wouldn't want to reach the spider. A plain cot is the only furnishing in the stark dungeon cell. The cot looks uncomfortable, not to mention a little dusty. Alexander decides against taking a nap there. A single burning torch dimly lights the dungeon. Alexander has no need for the torch. The castle is well lit, with the exception of these dank rooms. Alexander looks out the small window. The hallway is empty. The dungeon door is made of sturdy wood. At eye level is a barred window.
went in there?
The dungeon cell is empty. Alexander opens the dungeon door and slips inside.
Mother? Mother, where are you?
A shackle comprised of a thick iron chain set into a heavy stone block protrudes from the wall. It is perhaps used with particularly difficult prisoners. The heavy iron shackle is of no use to Alexander. He'd like to avoid chains as long as possible, actually.
What's the matter, little boy?
I'm lost. I can't find my mother. I don't know why she would just leave me here. I've been alone ever so long. Mother? Mother, where are you?
A spirit weeps inconsolably on the cot. The spirit appears to be the ghost of a little boy.
Is there anything I can do?
The ghost continues to weep, ignoring Alexander. The spirit seems to need consolation, but Alexander's human hands could provide little comfort for the immaterial ghost.
Would this comfort you, said spirit?
Mother! Come back for me!
The little boy ghost has no interest in that. Alexander is carrying the mother ghost's translucent handkerchief. Touching the ghost handkerchief gives Alexander a strong mental impression of the mother ghost worriedly searching for her lost son. The transparent hanky may be fine for a ghost, but Alexander feels a little nervous about using it himself.
You must be the son of the spirit I met in the realm of the dead. She gave me this handkerchief and asked me to tell you that she's waiting for you there.
It's Mama's. It even smells like her. I can feel her now. I know where to go.
Wait. Before you go, is there anything you can tell me about the castle?
I like to play in secret places. In the basement behind the Man of Steel is a door. Nobody except me knows it's there anymore. Farewell.
There's a strange door on the west wall. There doesn't appear to be any handle or keyhole on the door. Alexander doesn't see any way of opening that door manually. Alexander doesn't see any keyhole on that door. The castle basement is cool after the heat of the day. On the east wall is a door, and on the west wall, a staircase leads upward. This is the east basement hallway. There's a door on the east wall. The door on the east wall does not respond. Alexander decides to find out what's on the other side of that door.
Prince Alexander! I can't believe it! How did you get into the castle?
Well, Actually, it's a little hard to explain.
I bet. You run a terrible risk of being here, though. The castle is crawling with guard dogs, especially today. The Vizier will have your hide if he finds you.
I know that, Jallo. But Cassima is being married today. What greater risk is there than that?
Of course you're right. Young love, I forgot what heartburn it is. But what are you supposed to do about it?
I've got to try to see her. Maybe even stop the wedding.
Is that all? And here I thought you would try something dangerous. Oh.
Don't worry about me, friend. Just tell me, where is Cassima?
As far as I know, she's still in her bedroom upstairs. You'd never make it up there, though. The guard dogs are everywhere, and they're very loyal to the crown. Unfortunately, right now the crown means Al-Hazred. If we had proof of something truly afoul, the guard dogs might listen. As it is, they're your enemies, not his.
I understand. I've had no lack of enemies since I got here. In fact, you'd almost think I wasn't welcome.
And they say princes have no sense of humor. Well, I can see there's no putting you off. For Cassima's sake, I wish you luck. I'll be here if there's anything you need.
Thanks, Jalo.
Jalo's bedroom is spacious, neat, and lush with dramatic colors. Like its resident, there's a melancholy sheen to its brightness. A chandelier hangs down from the tall ceiling. How on earth does Jalo reach that thing to light it? The comfortable-looking bed in the corner is neatly arranged. It looks just large enough for Jalo's generous size. A large red rug with gold trim helps buffer the coldness of the marble floor underfoot. A plain trunk provides minimal storage for the bedroom. A cozy little fire is ablaze in Jalo's fireplace. The wall above Jalo's desk sports a notice of a circus. It seems very old. Jalo keeps his desk neat and tidy. Jalo uses a brass candelabra to illuminate his writing. Alexander couldn't possibly carry that heavy rug with him. Besides, Jalo might miss it. This is not the time for napping. Alexander doesn't want to intrude on Jalo's privacy by looking through his trunk. Alexander can't reach the chandelier. The circus notice belongs to Jalo. Alexander respects Jalo's privacy and leaves his desk alone. Alexander isn't in need of a candelabra.
Please stop, Prince Alex. I'm really ticklish.
Jalo occupies himself with his writing, but the frown on his brow indicates his anxiety about the fate of his beloved princess.
Is there anything else you can do that will help me in the castle?
I'm afraid not, Prince Alex. One will get past the guard dogs easier than two. Besides, I'm not much of a fighter. But if you intend to do as you've said, you should lose no time about it. The wedding will be starting before you know it.
Could you make use of this key, Jalo?
No thanks, Prince Alex. I can get pretty much anywhere in the castle that I need to as it is. It might serve you better.
I have something you might be interested in.
I'm afraid I wouldn't know what to do with that, Prince Alex. Sorry.
I've been thinking of what you said about swapping a replica for the genie's lamp. I got this lamp from the old lamp seller in town. Do you think it will pass?
Why, yes! It's an exact replica. That's amazing. How did you guess?
I suppose it was intuition.
I'll have to wait for the right moment, mind you. But I should be able to get close enough to swap this for the real thing, and none shall be the wiser. Now you shall see Jalo's skill.
I'm sure your hands are mightier than my sword, my clever friend.
Go ahead and do as you've planned, and let me worry about swapping the lamp. If I accomplish the trickery, I'll manage to get the lamp to you somehow. You never fear.
I have faith, Jalo. You are a true friend.
Oh, shucks. I'd do anything for the princess.
Jollo's door leads out into the basement hallway. There's a keyhole in the door. Alexander peers through the keyhole of Jollo's door. It looks like the hallway outside is clear. There are no guard dogs in sight. There's a door at the top of the stairs that must lead to an upper floor. The door has a doorknob and a keyhole. Uh-oh, guard dogs.
An intruder! Grab him!
I was just looking for the kitchen.
I'll bet you're the foreign saboteur the Vizier warned us about. He sure fits the description. He's supposed to be dangerous, mate. Let's throw him in the dungeon, then go tell Captain Saladin.
Right, good idea. You'll stay in here until we find out what the Vizier wants to do with you.
The guard dogs leave Alexander to his fate, locking the door noisily behind them. Alexander wonders how he'll get out of this one.
Psst! Prince Alex!
Jollo, what are you doing here?
Never mind. Quick, before the guard dog patrol comes around again.
But how did you know I was...
This is no place to talk, Alexander. Just trust that I know everything that goes on in this castle. Now, be more careful. If you get caught again, I don't know if I'll be able to get you out.